Dámy a pánové, vítejte u Stanley Parable, což je hra, která je uvnitř hry, zároveň uvnitř... Ne, ale je to hra, která je tak trošku jako speciální, protože to není údajně hra, kterou hrajete vy, protože to by bylo moc obvious. Tady to je hra, která si hraje s vámi.
Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
Jo! Ono teďka vyšlo extended verze, předělávka z roku, tuším z 2013. A je to hra, kterou já jsem chtěl kdysi hodně dávno natáčet, ale pak jsem se na to vykašlal, ta hra zestárla a pak jsem si řekl, jako už je to asi moc stará hra na to, abych ji hrál. A ona už ta předělávka. Takže jdeme nahrávat tu novou sérii, která je mimochodem založená na Source Engineu, na který je postavený třeba Portal 2. Myslím, ta grafika vypadá tak, že jako kdyby to byl Portal, takže myslím si, že to je přesně jako na Source postavený a myslím, že to konce je Source 2. Nebudu dál zdržovat, protože nevím, co bych vám o tom dál řekl. Jdeme se pustit do hry. Bam!
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year.
To je jako skvělá práce.
Might have considered it soul-rending. Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Když on byl šťastný v tom? Stanley, co děláš, ty ve? Zvláštní M-ko. Good job, Stanley. A Stanley.
Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Už jsem Stanley, ale já mám takový pocit, že Stanley pořád chce čumět ještě do monitoru. Přestože vyprávěč říká, že Stanley vstal a odešel, tak Stanley stále kouká do monitoru. To je ten nejlepší let's play, co jsem kdy natáčel. Protože jestli si ta hra myslí, že si se mnou bude hrát, tak já si budu hrát tu hru. Já budu hrát si s tím, jak si ta hra se mnou hraje. Dobře, nechám se vycukat. Ach jo. Můžu něco zmáčknout, bez toho, aniž by mi to někdo dovolil? No je to docela k prdu, co? Všechny tlačítka jsou zvuky klávesnice. Proč? Nevím. Každopádně zaměstnanec 427 Stanley odchází.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
OK, tak půjdeme do meeting roomu, třeba jsme tam nechali, třeba nám tam někdo nechal, nevím, nějakou zprávu, podle který se můžeme řídit. Meeting room, kde to je vlastně, už tak dlouho chodím na jedno místo. Budeme poslouchat vypravěče, že se Stanley rozhodl jít doleva a Stanley rebelsky šel doprava. Rebel, vole.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
OK. Přesně, jenom tak se podívat do jídelny, jo.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Ano, všechno jsem to tady vypil, jo, kávička, nice, super. Kde se vzaly tady ty hrnky, když tady nikdo dneska není? Je protože ona tady není ani uklízečka.
Really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Sice tady vůbec nikdo není, mohl jsem si prohlížet tady sedačky a obrazy a bylo to boží.
Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
OK. Důvod, proč Stanley je prostě takovej speciálek, že chodí do místnosti, aby se koukal na gauč.
But when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Ježiš, dobře, hele, už víš co, odcházím.
But at last he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Ledaže...
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
No počkej, ale Stanley vlastně, jo, normálně umí nastavovat instrukce, ale tady to je něco jiného. Či já jsem nešel vůbec do toho meeting roomu a mě ta hra poslala jako dál. Jejda, o co jsem přišel?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Co?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Kdo je ona? Stanley má ženu? Vždyť ťuká do klávesnice, jak na tohle někoho zbalíš. K mi se taky povedlo.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
To bude moje matka. Co, Stanley? Kdo to byl? Kdo to byl?
Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife?
Nah.
Who want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Kašlu na vás.
Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Uh-oh. This is getting dark. Tak, dobrý den.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
What? Ne. Ne, já počkat, já nechci, aby umřel Stanley. Já jsem Stanley, nemůžu umřít, ale mám za úkol zmáčknout F-ko. A já budu mačkat cokoliv jinýho než F-ko. Já nemám šanci cokoliv nezmáčknout, já musím zmáčknout prostě F-ko. It's F now.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Hele, ale já se stávám Stanleym. Já dostávám úkoly mačkat tlačítka a já to dělám.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do.
Ale já nemám na výběr.
Pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Já jsem si to vybral? Teďka zmáčkni účko. Ne, já se chci pomilovat se svojí ženou. Jo. Ty vole, musím zmáčknout U.
But in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown. Fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Ježíš, tohle to je frustrující. Představ si, že opravdu chodíš do té práce, každý den tam jenom mačkáš tlačítka a pak jdeš domů. A najednou si zapneš tady tu hru, aby ses odreagoval. A připomíná ti to ten tvůj miserable life. Že nemůžeš chodit na žádný výlet, jenom mačkáš tlačítka.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Zvláště X-ko, aby si strávil čas s kámošema.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Já už mám děti? A teďka zvačnu Gčku, abych jim řekl příběh?
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Péčko na to, abych řekl svůj ženě, že ji miluju.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Já nevím, co mám teďka dělat, mám to zmáčknout nebo nezmáčknout, nebo I don't know. Protože předtím jsem byl jako rebel, že jsem ho jako neposlouchal a teďka ho mám jako že poslechnout tomu, aby... Hlavně já stejně asi nemůžu udělat nic jiného, já prostě to musím zmáčknout, abych se pohnul dál.
You see, can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Ale Stanley musí vydělávat prachy, proto chodí do práce a dělá úkoly. Elko, abych se na nic neptal.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried...
Goddammit, co to je za hru? To je tak divný? Já nevím, co si mám myslet, absolutně vůbec. Teďka vypadá, že neřík. Wait, what? Dobře, hrajeme to jakoby ještě jednou znova. Za mnou se tentokrát nezavírají dveře, teďka mi řekne o těch pravých a levých dveřích, že? Mám ho tentokrát poslechnout? Já ho tentokrát poslechnu, jak to bude úplně stejný určitě. A jdeme najít meeting room, jo.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Takže jdeme do šéfovic. Kde je šéf? Nahoře nebo dole?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ano, samozřejmě. Budeme následovat teďka instrukce, aby jsme se dostali k šéfovi. Jo, ty ani to nikdo není, takže teďka to v podstatě patří mně.
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
To je geniální.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Wait, tak co tady náš šéf schovává za tajností? Vejtah? Jesus Christ, chci jet nahoru. No nic, zvášnul jsem dolů. Stanley neměl moc na výběr, evidentně.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
To je úplně skvěle, ale Ale... Já to vůbec nechápu. Co se to děje?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door of the red mind control facility.
No tak to je krása. A tady je únik. Tak co, chci jít do mind control facility? Já jasně chci. Řízení myslí. Řízení myslí. Stanley jde řídit mysle.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Samozřejmě, že měl dost síly na to, aby přišel na to, co se to tady vlastně děje. Stanley není žádný žabař. Stanley jde zjistit, co se to tady všecko děje a proč se po něm chtělo, aby jenom mačkal blbý tlačítko, když ten program mu říká, aby mačkal tlačítko, takže to znamená, že ten program je dokáže mačkat za něj. Proč by teda byl Stanley nucen to všecko dělat?
Now the monitors jumped to life. Their true nature revealed. Each
102 byl vyhozen.
an employee in the building. Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Tady má 427. To je to moje zaměstnanecké místečko, ale nikde nikdo není. Nikde nikdo. Raz, dva, jenom 2 lidi bylo vyhozený z tolika lidí? To se docela mají, ne? A takže tady ta práce není o tom, abych já pro ně odváděl nějakou práci. Oni jenom nás všechny se snaží ovládat. Jo, a všichni pravděpodobně odešli, jako jsem odešel teďka já, najít tohlento, aby jsme byli ještě víc ovládáni.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
No to nevím, jestli mohl takhle všechno přijmout Stanley předtím slepě a byl celou dobu ovládaný, aby ho bavila tak nudná práce.
He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Takže já jdu teďka všechny tady ty možnosti ovládání emocí ostatních lidí vypnout. Protože stojím si za názorem, že si můžou všichni dělat, co chtějí. Mám se připojit, aby jsme mohli ovládat emoce. Aby jsme mohli ovládat celou tu hlavu. Totální brutální mind control. Počkej, když to nechávám...
When at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Takže bych to měl správně vypnout. Jo, ale já mám teďka tu moc to celý nahodit a zjistit, co se stane a ovládat celý lidstvo. Já mám teďka takovou možnost a power. Já to tady můžu totálně, brutálně všecko ovládat. Využiju této příležitosti, nebo udělám dobrou věc. Jejda, ujala mi ruka. Upsi.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you?
Ne?
After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted?
Ano.
Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees.
Ježiši, protože jsem úplný retard, tak...
You have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right
What the?
now. Or did you just assume when you saw that timer?
Zmáčknout 3krát modrý? To by možná znamenalo, raz.
I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons. No, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button. Or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then...
To je v pohodě. Neříkejte mi s Bohem.
Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't.
Já tady chci budu.
All a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
Oh well.